Spree was a mess. It had no direction. It was satire, low budget, experimental, chaotic energy. And I loved it. Let me tell you why. Hi guys, I am back. If you don't know who I am, I'm Emma, also known as Spooky Astronauts. I do 2 videos every single week talking to you about dark and disturbing, thriller and horror, anything spooky dooky. I'm your girl. And today I really want to talk to you about Spree because I have so many feelings. Directed and written by Eugene Kudlyrenko, Spree is a new found footage comedy thriller starring Joe Keery, who we love as Steve from Stranger Things. But this time he's Kurt Kunkel, an oddball that believes that he has the perfect recipe to go viral. Using the rideshare app called Spree, Kirk plans to live stream violent encounters with those who are willing to get into his vehicle. That is the straightforward blurb, but it's definitely in between the lines. As I said, this is a satire comedy, so if you're a fan of satire, which I'm a huge fan of satire, this might be your thing. The satirical story is really about the strive of fame online. The film is created to make you cringe from the start. In fact, the director and lead sat down and watched hours of cringe compilation videos to create the character Kurt. This film is so wacky that I feel like the character Kurt could just go over people's heads as being just a dick, but really he's meant to embody the desperate struggle a lot of people go through to be heard at any cost. As I mentioned, the film is full of chaotic energy and it bounces around because Kurt's desires are so unrelatable from an outside perspective. He becomes somewhat of a wild card. Watching the film and following his progression, you are out of your comfort zone. Usually when you follow with a lead character, you figure out their desires, their thoughts, and their next move, especially in horror movies. But Kurt is living in a different reality, and that's why the end of this film is so important, and so important to the overall context of the film. It shows what the film was really about and what it was actually meant to reflect. The movie is scary, but it's not scary in a horror way. Turns out it's scary in a real life kind of way. To me, the chaos of the film really translates to people grasping at anything to stay or really become relevant, to their own idea of relevancy, of course. So although the film seems messy and out of control, it's very purposeful and really quite clear. The messiness of the plot and subplots is really the genius of the movie. The film is intentionally silly and zany, but that's really a cover for what the story means. Just like when you watch these compilations, I don't know if you guys do, with these cringe compilations, the people who are in these videos are real people. And that's the tragedy that is sometimes overlooked. But let's break down the use of media in this, because I've heard a lot of people have the debate whether this is a found footage or not. I'll leave it up to you to decide. Actually, let me know what you think down in the comments. Is there a different name for this kind of film? The film is not only pieced together by the footage that Kurt himself films, but with other live stream footage, as well as the GoPros hooked up in his car. The film also uses YouTube as one of its main sources. I really liked the raw editing in this film, splicing in the vertical phone footage as well as a live stream video. This made the film seem very dynamic. And the cool thing about this is it was all recorded from the devices we see. So the GoPro shots are actually from GoPros. It's not staged and it's nothing else. It's everything we see within the shots. I really liked this because more and more when we see this viral footage and it circulates, it's never in one format. It's in whatever it could be recorded in and shared as easy as possible. I believe this creates interest for the viewer, never knowing what the next shot is going to be or where it's going to take place. And that's just like this film. As I said, chaotic energy, big time. I was also a big fan of the chat interface. Just like Instagram or YouNow, you saw the chat numbers fluctuate throughout the film. But with the chat, there was also spam and trolling, and it was really interesting to hear what Kurt was saying and also read the comments as it went along. It just felt more realistic that way, even though it was zany as all hell. I loved it. It was really interesting and something completely new. The film also stars Sashia Zamata as Jessie Adam. She plays a successful stand-up comedian whose life collides with Kurt. Jessie is the only real human being I find within this film. She's multi-dimensional, and you get to see her react to the erratic behavior by Kurt, where everyone else is just something else. They're just not relatable. And I feel like she is the sane person in this situation, so you really relate to her, and she kind of takes you through seeing it from an outside perspective. She does a fantastic job, as Kevin Smith says, being the heart and the hope of the film, but whether that pays off, you're gonna have to watch to find out. The film also stars some other gems, such as David Arquette as Kurt's father and Mishka Barton as one of the ride passengers. But let's talk about gore, because the film has a super gory poster, but does it live up to its name? Its visual aesthetic? Yes, it does in a way. But although the film is very violent and quite gory, the blood is quite unrealistic, and you could speculate that this might be because it's a low-budget horror movie. This is an indie film after all, and the director's past work includes shoestring budgets, usually casting himself in his own productions to save cost. But part of me wants to believe, because I love reading into this film, there's just so much to unpack, that the blood and the cherry giallo feel to it is almost intentional. During some of the live streams, we see some comments saying that the blood looks fake. So maybe it's put in there as a plot device to kind of show that people weren't believing the really extreme scenes, therefore that's why the cops weren't brought in. I don't want to get too much into that, into the plot. I don't think it's that reason, but what I want to believe is that it was done intentional because this is a satire. The fake blood is meant to look fake to make us feel at ease with the situation, and we're watching along because it isn't realistic. And this ties into the whole idea behind the film. Laugh along because it's not you, laugh along because it's cringe, and forget the real people involved. For me, Spree was a good time because it was completely unexpected. I went into this one blind. I did not have any expectations leading up to the production. So it was really fun in that way, but also it's a success because if we take the filmmaker's intent in the project, they set out to create this indie passion project with the actors collaborating on the story and on their characters. They wanted it to be silly, they wanted it to be zany, but above all, they wanted it to have an underlining message. And that's 100% achieved, I think. The director was looking to make a, and I quote, hardcore, brutal satire with crazy elements. And that's what we got. It was meant to be a satirical, twisted journey with an underlying message. And as the credits rolled, I realized I had just been duped. This wasn't an insensitive ride, it meant every single word. From the influencers who want to make it big to the lurkers who allow their legacy to live on, we are all to blame. Of course, this film isn't for everyone. Not everything is. But don't let its silliness fool you, and please, if you give it a go, just wait until the end. I'm gonna give this one a personal score of 7. I really enjoyed it. Scare score of 5 for the fake blood and violence, and originality, I was gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it a 9. Yep, it's getting a 9. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please check out Spree, highly recommend it, especially if whatever I described in this chaotic video, I had to say it one more time, rang true with you and sounded like something that you would be interested in watching. I can't wait to see all of your thoughts if you've seen the movie down below. Please leave them there. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll be in your subscription box in a couple of days giving you some more recommendations. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.